So in order to follow up from last week's test on rotation, up and over, and behind and up, if you couldn't do one of those movements, I'm going to show you two movements you can now use to incorporate into your daily routine in order to improve those movements, reduce your risk of rotator cuff injury, and just keep your shoulders healthy, okay? So if you failed one of those two movements, let's implement these next two movements in order to start getting that better at home. They're pretty simple. All you need is the floor and a rod. So that can be something like a broomstick. It can be a yardstick if it's sturdy. You can use a dowel rod. It doesn't really matter what it is, but you just need some sort of object, basically, that is probably a couple feet in length and small in diameter. So if you failed the movement where you were reaching up and across to your shoulder blade and the upper portion of the bone, if you failed that movement, that is technically an external rotation and flexion movement. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna improve your shoulder mobility in those ranges. So this is where you need a dowel rod or some form of a rod. This is my dowel rod, okay? So if I failed reaching up and over on my right side, I'm gonna first take my arm up to 90 degrees. If you look from the side, 90-degree shoulder angle. And I'm gonna try to bring it more towards the midline, okay? And then you're gonna take the dowel rod, put it behind your tricep, basically. Reach back with your hand, and then your shoulder is just kind of stationary, just hanging out, okay? So all the work is gonna be done with this hand. What you're gonna do is you're gonna pull and rotate until you feel the stretch on the back side of your shoulder, and then hold for approximately 10 seconds. Let out, and then try to get further. So every repetition that you're pulling, you're trying to get slightly further. This will be a decently intense stretch, so don't pull into the pain, okay? Pull to the point where you feel a solid stretch. That's where you'll stay. That's where you'll stick and hold for 10 seconds, ideally knocking out between 5 to 10 reps during that training session in order to raise up and over and get your shoulder mobility better. But what I want you to do is first test where you're at, knock out 10 reps, 5 to 10 reps of 10-second hold, retest where you're at, and I bet you'll be further, okay? So if you failed the other movement, which was reaching up and behind, either way, to touch the opposite shoulder blade on the backside, if you failed that movement, let me show you another one you can do to implement so that we can get your shoulder rotation better, and then you can prevent future injury in your rotator cuff. So what you'll do if you failed on the right side, you'll just make your way to the ground, right? You make your way to the ground and you will lay on that right side, okay? So you'll lay on that right side. You're gonna slightly rotate your body. It's not directly up at this plane, it is slightly back, about 20 degrees back. You can have a pillow on your head if you want to, just for support, cervical support. Your shoulder is not gonna be at 90, ideally 70 to 80 degrees of this angle. Then what you're gonna do is, you're not gonna push from the wrist, you're gonna push from your forearm, and you're gonna push down to your waistline into this degree. And you will feel a stretch on the posterior side of your shoulder. Let out, and then go back into this. So we're not really holding this stretch, we're just kind of flossing, and moving through the range. And as you do more, your shoulder joint on the back side of your shoulder will start to loosen up and let you move into this rotation even easier. So again, if you want to see where you're at and how you improve, rotate, take a picture of where you're at, knock out 20 reps on the ground, just slow, methodical reps, stand up, retest where you're at, and let me know if you've improved.